The Battle of Agincourt, 1415. By nightfall, thousands of French knights will lie suffocated in mud. The pride of France pressed face down into farmland. It is the 25th of October, 1415. Agincourt. Rain falls in a thin, steady sheet. The field beneath your boots is no longer grass. It is clay, churned by hooves and iron. Water pools between ridges of ploughed earth. Every step sinks. You try to lift your arms. You cannot. Not because you are wounded, because there is no space. Steel crushes into your ribs. A visor scrapes against your cheek. Your breath rebounds hot inside your helmet. The man in front of you stumbles. He does not fall cleanly. There is nowhere to fall. His weight folds backward into you, and the line behind keeps pushing. You are not swinging a sword. You are being compressed. Mud climbs your greaves. Pressure builds from every direction. You hear shouting, but it is not command. It is prayer. And somewhere beyond this wall of iron, the English line stands still, waiting. You begin to understand something terrible. You are not fighting the English. You are drowning in your own army. And the ground beneath you is about to decide which kingdom survives the day. You are not a duke. No chronicler will preserve your name. You are one knight among thousands in the army of France, pulled from Burgundy, or Picardy, or Normandy. It does not matter. Your armour was forged at great expense. Your horse bred for shock and speed. Your family traces its lineage back generations. You were told this would be simple. The English king, Henry V, is deep inside France with barely 5,000 or 6,000 men. His soldiers are sick from campaign, many weakened by dysentery after the siege of Harfleur. They have marched for weeks across hostile territory. You are part of something far larger, perhaps 20,000, perhaps closer to 25,000. The numbers are debated by historians, but the imbalance is not. You outnumber him several times over. You expected to ride him down. Instead, you cannot even lift your arms. And the narrowing field between two forests is turning advantage into liability. Agincourt did not begin in reign. It began in inheritance. Nearly 70 years earlier, Edward III of England claimed the French crown through his mother, Isabella of France. The Valois dynasty rejected the claim. War followed. A long conflict historians would later call the 100 Years' War. By 1415, that war had smoldered through generations. Henry V is young, disciplined, and intensely devout. He believes his claim to France is lawful, perhaps even divinely sanctioned. He also understands something else. War unites a divided England. In August of 1415, he lands in Normandy and lays siege to the port city of Harfleur. The siege lasts more than a month. English cannon batter walls, but disease does more damage than stone. Dysentery spreads through the English camp. Hundreds die in filth. Henry captures Harfleur, but his army shrinks dramatically. He cannot hold the town with so few healthy men. So he makes a calculated decision. He marches north toward Calais, an English-held stronghold on the coast. It is not conquest, it is survival. France will not allow him to leave. But France itself is unstable. King Charles VI suffers recurring bouts of mental illness. At times he does not recognize his own family. Real power shifts between rival factions, the Armagnacs and the Burgundians. Distrust weakens coordination. The army assembling to intercept Henry is immense but politically fractured. Nobles compete for prestige, for position, for the honor of leading the decisive blow. And when honor dictates formation, practicality suffers. That rivalry will follow them into the mud. The French host gathers under Charles d'Albret, the Constable of France. With him stand some of the most powerful nobles in the kingdom. Jean Le Mangre, known as Boucicaut, veteran of campaigns in the east. Charles, Duke of Orléans. Charles, Duke of Alençon. Jean I, Duke of Bourbon. Hundreds of high-ranking lords ride beneath banners heavy with heraldry. Their expectation is simple: crush the English. The French plan is traditional and direct. Heavily armoured men-at-arms will form the vanguard. Cavalry will disrupt the English archers. Sheer mass and shock will break the thinner English line. Henry V understands he cannot match that weight. His force numbers roughly 5,500 to 6,000 men. Perhaps 1,000 are men-at-arms, heavily armoured like their French counterparts. The rest are longbowmen. Many are exhausted, many underfed. But Henry has one advantage. He chooses the ground, and he chooses it carefully. The battlefield lies near the village of Agincourt in northern France. Two dense woodlands form natural walls on either side. To the west, Tramecourt Wood. To the east, Agincourt Wood. Between them stretches a recently ploughed field, roughly 700 to 900 meters across at its widest, narrowing toward the English position. It has rained heavily in the days before the battle. Freshly turned soil absorbs water easily. The surface is thick, sticky, heavy underfoot. This is not firm cavalry ground. Henry positions his army at the narrow end of the field. He reduces frontage. He forces compression. In front of his archers, he orders sharpened wooden stakes driven into the earth at angles. A defensive hedge against mounted assault. His men dismount. Even the knights fight on foot. This prevents horses from becoming liabilities in mud. The French deploy in 3 divisions, one behind the other. But too many nobles insist on leading the first line. Spacing collapses before contact. Men crowd shoulder to shoulder. You are in the 2nd division, close enough to feel the tension from the first, not far enough to see clearly. The rain does not stop, and somewhere ahead, English archers are stepping into position. The longbow is not new, but in disciplined hands it becomes decisive. Crafted from yew, often as tall as the man who draws it, it requires immense strength. Many English archers train from childhood. Law in England mandates practice on Sundays. A skilled archer can loose 6 arrows in a minute, perhaps more. Multiply that by thousands. This is not a scattered volley, it is sustained pressure. The arrows may not pierce the thickest plate armour at distance, but they do not need to. Horses are vulnerable, gaps exist, visors, joints, armpits. Momentum, once disrupted, is difficult to restore. And momentum is everything in shock cavalry warfare. Henry knows this. He advances his line slightly, provoking engagement. Then he stops. The archers plant their stakes. They draw. They release. You hear it before you see it. A tearing sound across the sky. And then the arrows descend. The first horses begin to scream. And the French advance, already compressed, must now cross a field that fights back. The French advance begins, not in a clean line, not in synchronized formation, but in weight. The 1st Division moves forward under arrow fire. Horses strain, hooves sink. Riders attempt to maintain alignment, but the ground absorbs force. Each stride steals energy. Arrows continue to fall, not wildly, in rhythm. Some glance off plate, some punch into mail. Many strike horses. A wounded horse does not fall gracefully. It rears. It collapses sideways. It throws its rider into mud already churned by hundreds of hooves. The cavalry meant to disrupt the English archers loses cohesion before it reaches the stakes. Behind the mounted men, dismounted French knights advance on foot. They expected a thunderous collision. Instead, they weighed. Every step forward costs strength. Armour that weighs perhaps 50 pounds in dry conditions now feels heavier. Mud clings to sabatons and greaves. Each foot must be pulled free before the next can move. The English do not charge, they hold. Men-at-arms stand behind their stakes. Archers step aside only when necessary, then return to shooting. The French vanguard finally reaches the English line, but they arrive fragmented, breathing hard, already fatigued. The collision is not explosive. It is grinding. Steel meets steel. But there is no room to maneuver. And behind you, the 2nd Division continues to advance. You are pushed forward by men who cannot see what blocks the path ahead. The 1st rank cannot retreat. The 2nd rank cannot stop. The 3rd rank continues pressing. This is not a duel, it is compression. You attempt to raise your sword. There is no space for a full swing. Your shield is pinned between bodies. Your helmet is forced sideways. Breath fogs your visor. The ground beneath you is no longer soil. It is bodies layered beneath mud. A man stumbles. He does not fall cleanly. He disappears downward. The pressure does the rest. Plate armor protects against blades. It does not protect against gravity. When a knight falls face down in thick clay while others press from behind, rising is nearly impossible. Some historians debate how many died this way, but enough did that chroniclers described suffocation as common. English archers, once their quivers empty, drop bows and move to the flanks. They carry mallets, hatchets, short blades. They strike visors, they hammer joints, they drag men from the crush and finish them on the ground. The French nobility is inside this chaos. Charles d'Albret, the Constable of France, is killed. The Duke of Alençon reportedly fights his way toward Henry himself before being struck down. The Duke of York, fighting for England, also dies in the melee. The Duke of Orleans is captured. The Duke of Bourbon is captured. Many lesser nobles suffocate where they stand. The command structure disintegrates not from fear, but from immobility. Orders cannot travel. Signals cannot be seen. The 2nd and 3rd Divisions push into an already clogged front. The mass becomes a liability. Momentum dies completely. And once forward motion stops, the French advantage evaporates. At some point during the battle, Henry observes movement beyond the immediate melee. Reports suggest a French detachment attacks the English baggage train. Other sources suggest he fears a renewed assault from remaining French reserves. His army is small. If thousands of captured French knights rearm in his rear, his position collapses, so he makes a brutal calculation. He orders many prisoners executed, not out of spectacle, out of necessity. Some English soldiers hesitate. Ransoming captured nobles is profitable, but Henry insists. Control must be absolute. In medieval warfare, killing prisoners of noble rank is extraordinary. Yet Henry prioritizes survival over convention. The order is carried out. The remaining French lines falter. Those still advancing see chaos ahead. No space, no breakthrough. The attack loses coherence entirely. The field belongs to the English, not because they overwhelmed, but because they endured. When the fighting ends, the field is layered with French dead. Estimates vary. Some chronicles claim over 10,000 French casualties. Modern historians often suggest between 6,000 and 9,000 killed. English losses are far smaller. perhaps a few hundred. The disproportion shocks Europe. Entire noble houses are extinguished in a single day. The economic system of ransom collapses temporarily because so many die outright rather than being captured. Regions of France lose key leadership. Recruitment suffers. Confidence fractures. The political instability already present in France deepens. Henry returns to England not merely as a survivor, but as a conqueror of reputation. 5 years later, in 1420, the Treaty of Troyes recognizes Henry as heir to the French throne and regent during the lifetime of Charles VI. For a brief period, an English king stands poised to inherit France. Agincourt does not win the war outright, but it transforms negotiation, transforms leverage, transforms perception. It demonstrates that disciplined positioning can defeat overwhelming numbers, and it reveals something uncomfortable about feudal warfare. Prestige does not equal flexibility, honor does not equal adaptability, and weight, when trapped in the wrong terrain, becomes fatal. Historians will debate the reasons. They will cite weather, leadership, arrow velocity, political division, but the core truth remains mechanical. An army built for momentum entered ground that devoured momentum. An army built for shock lost the ability to move. And when movement ceased, strength became suffocation. Agincourt was not decided by fury. It was decided by preparation, by terrain, by constraint. Victory did not belong to the larger force. It belonged to the force that could still breathe. The field near Agincourt is quiet now. Grass grows where armour once sank, but beneath that soil lies a reminder. Power is only as strong as the ground beneath it, and sometimes the earth chooses the winner. Thank you for standing on the battlefield with me. If you value immersive, unfiltered history, help smokescreen battles grow. Subscribe, like, share it with someone who still believes history matters. Get ready. I'll see you on the next battlefield.
You're the shadow of the empire.